The sun was high above Silver Pine Lake, casting golden light across the water. Birds chirped, kids laughed near the shore, and the smell of pine trees filled the air. Life was calm, peaceful. Jordan sat on a bench nearby, eating a sandwich and enjoying the quiet. He wasn't famous or rich, just a regular guy who worked at the local garage fixing engines and changing tires. But he had one thing most people didn't: good instincts. That's why when he heard the shouting, he looked up before most others even noticed it. Help! She can't swim. A few people had gathered near the edge of the dock. Jordan stood, up quickly, brushing crumbs from his jeans. There, in the water, someone was flailing, arms waving, head going under, coming up for air with a gasp, then vanishing again. Most people just stared. Some were already pulling out their phones. Others shouted for help. No one jumped in. Jordan did. He dropped his sandwich, kicked off his boots, and ran toward the dock. Without hesitation, he dove into the cool lake water. The shock of cold hit him like a slap, but he pushed through it. He spotted her, a girl in strange clothing that shimmered like fish scales. Her skin glowed faintly, like she had caught some sunlight under her skin. She was panicking. Every time she tried to float, she sank again. Her arms grabbed at the water like it was something solid she could hold. Jordan reached her fast. He wrapped one arm around her chest, holding her tight. "Calm down," he said, though he knew she might not understand. "I've got you." Her eyes met his. They were wide, dark, and deep, like looking into space itself. She blinked, then let out a small, frightened sound. "Just relax," he told her. "Let me do the work." With strong strokes, Jordan pulled them both toward the dock. People leaned over, offering hands. Someone threw down a life ring. With their help, they pulled both Jordan and the girl onto the wooden platform. She coughed and shivered, soaked and shaking. Jordan sat beside her, catching his breath. What were you doing out there?" someone asked. "I don't know," she whispered. Her voice was soft, musical almost. "My ship. It fell. I thought this place was safe." Jordan frowned. "Your ship?" She looked at him then. Really looked at him. Her eyes narrowed slightly, as if seeing something new. Then she whispered, barely loud enough for anyone else to hear, "You should not exist." Jordan blinked. "What?" But the girl didn't say more. She just stared at him, confused, and maybe even a little afraid. By now, someone had called emergency services. A medic arrived and checked her over. "She's fine," the medic said. "Just shaken up." Jordan stood up, dripping wet. His shirt clung to his chest. His shoes squelched with every step. "Thanks, man," one of the onlookers said. "You just saved her life." Jordan shrugged. "Anyone would have done it." "No," the medic said. "Not everyone jumps in." Jordan gave a tired smile and walked away, leaving behind the crowd and the questions. He needed to get home, change clothes, and maybe get a new sandwich. But as he walked, he felt the girl's eyes still on him, watching, wondering, and somewhere deep inside, something stirred. The next day, Jordan was back at work. The garage smelled like oil and dust, and the radio played soft rock in the background. He wiped his hands on a rag, thinking about the strange girl from the lake. She hadn't looked hurt, but she sure wasn't normal. Her skin had that faint glow. Her eyes were too deep. And what did she mean by, "You should not exist"? He was just about to climb under a pickup truck when his phone buzzed. A message lit up the screen. "Please come back to the lake. I need to talk to you." Signed with no name, just a symbol. A triangle inside a circle, glowing softly even on his screen. Jordan raised an eyebrow. He could have ignored it. Should have, maybe. But curiosity got the better of him. By late afternoon, he was back at Silver Pine Lake. The sun hung lower now, painting the water gold. Birds called out from the trees. Everything felt peaceful again. But near the dock, something was different. There, standing alone, was the girl. She wore the same shimmering clothes, though now they looked cleaner, almost dry. Her skin still glowed faintly. She turned as Jordan approached. her dark eyes watching him closely. "You came," she said. "I figured I owed you one," Jordan replied. "You okay?" She nodded slowly. "I am Vela, of the Zilari Conquered." "Zilari?" Jordan repeated. "That's not a local club, is it?" Vela gave a small smile, though it didn't reach her eyes. "No, we are watchers. Scouts sent to observe young species. My mission was to study your kind, learn how you live, how you think." "Sounds boring," Jordan joked. "It was not," she said seriously. "Humans are unusual." He chuckled. "We do have our moments." Vela stepped closer. "My ship was damaged during entry. I ejected over this lake. I thought I would be safe here. Water is common across many worlds. I believed I could survive it." "But you couldn't swim," Jordan realized. "No," she admitted. "On my world we float. Our bodies are lighter than water. This place would nearly killed me." Jordan whistled. "Guess not all aliens are built for Earth." Vela looked down. "I was lucky. You saw me. You helped me. No one else did." "Well, I couldn't just watch someone drown," he said simply. She studied him again like she had the day before. Then she reached into her coat and pulled out a small device. It looked like a silver pendant shaped like a spiral. "This is a beacon," she said. "It will call my people. They'll come soon." Jordan frowned. "You don't sound happy about that." "My people?" Vela hesitated. "They are not always kind to those who fail. I was on a training mission. I made mistakes. If they know how close I came to death, they'll punish you," Jordan asked. "Not in the way you understand," she said. "They will erase my memory of this place, of you." That hit Jordan harder than he expected. "You're serious?" She nodded. "It's their way to protect the balance." He looked at the lake, then back at her. "So, what can I do?" Vela smiled slightly. "Help me fix the beacon. Make it look like I completed my mission, that I left without incident." Jordan crossed his arms. "And what happens if I say, no?" "Then I go home," she said quietly, "and forget everything." Jordan stared at the device in her hand. He thought about how she looked when he pulled her from the water, how scared she'd been, how much she didn't belong here, and how much he wanted to know more. He sighed. "All right. Let's fix it." Vela handed him the beacon. It was warm, in his palm, humming softly. "What's wrong with it?" he asked. "The signal is weak," she said, "and the power core is damaged." Jordan looked around. "You got any tools?" She shook her head. He grinned. "Then let's improvise." Together they started working, human hands and alien tech side by side. As they tinkered, Jordan glanced at Vela. "So, what happens after this? You leave?" She paused. "Maybe. Or maybe I find a reason to stay." Jordan blinked. "Why?" Vela looked at him, her dark eyes filled with something he couldn't quite read. "Because you are not what we expected," she said. "And I think there's more to you than even you know." The sun was beginning to dip behind the trees when Jordan and Vela finished fixing the beacon. It now pulsed with a soft blue light, sending out a steady signal that would call her people. Jordan wiped his hands on his jeans. "Looks good." Vela studied him for a long moment, then she smiled, not just with her lips, but with her eyes. "You are strange," she said. "Is that a bad thing?" he asked. She shook her head. "No, I think it's a good thing." Just then a low hum filled the air. From above, hidden by clouds and cloaking fields, a sleek silver craft descended. It made no sound, like it didn't want to be noticed. "This is it," Vela whispered. "They're here." Jordan looked at the sky, then back at her. "You sure you don't want to stay?" "I wish I could," she said softly. "But if they find me still here, they'll know I broke the rules." He nodded. "Then go, before it gets worse." Vela hesitated, then reached into her coat again. This time she pulled out something small, about the size of a coin but glowing faintly. It spun slowly in her hand as if weightless. "This," she said, "is for you." Jordan frowned. "What is it?" "A seed," she said. "From the ancients." He raised an eyebrow. "Like a plant seed?" "No," she said, smiling slightly. "Not a plant. A gift. Only given to those who are different." He looked at it carefully. The object pulsed once like a heartbeat. "What does it do?" Vela's smile faded a little. "I'm not entirely sure, but I know this. It chooses who can carry it. And it chose you." Jordan stared at the small, glowing object. "Why, me?" She looked at him like she had the first day, like she was seeing something deeper than skin or bones. "Because you are not like the others," she said. "You saved me without fear. You helped without asking for anything. And when I scanned you earlier, now my system couldn't understand you." He blinked. "Couldn't understand me?" "It couldn't classify your genetic code," she explained. "It didn't match any known species, not human, not alien, not even close." Jordan took a step back. "That doesn't make sense." "But it's true," she said, "and the seed knows it." Before he could ask more, the ship above lowered a small platform. A door opened silently. Vela stepped toward it, then turned back. "Thank you, Jordan," she said, "for everything." Then she was gone, lifted up into the sky like a dream. The ship vanished seconds later, leaving only silence behind. Back home, Jordan sat on his couch, staring at the seed in his palm. It felt warm, almost alive. He turned on the TV, but the news blurred past him. He barely heard it. His mind kept going back to what Vela said. "My system couldn't understand you." He stood up, walked to the bathroom mirror, and looked at himself. Was there something wrong with him? Something different? He touched the seed again. Suddenly it reacted. A soft pulse of light spread from his hand, up his arm, across his chest. His body tingled like pins and needles, but not painful, just strange. Then it stopped. Everything went quiet. Jordan looked at his reflection again. Same face, same tired eyes, same messy hair. But something inside him had changed. He didn't know how he knew it. He just did. Later that night, Jordan tried to sleep. But dreams came fast and vivid. He saw stars, worlds he'd never seen, voices speaking in thoughts, not words, machines older than time itself, and a symbol, a spiral like the one on the seed, glowing in the dark. When he woke up, he felt wide awake, full of energy, like he hadn't just slept, like he had remembered something long forgotten. He sat up, heart pounding. Somewhere deep inside, a voice whispered, "Awakening has begun." In the days after Vela left, Jordan felt different. Not sick, not hurt, just off. Like something inside him had shifted. He couldn't explain it, but he could feel it. He woke up full of energy, even after only a few hours of sleep. His senses were sharper. He could hear birds from far away, smell rain before it came, see details in the dark that should have been invisible. And then there were the dreams. Every night, they got stranger. He saw floating cities made of crystal, ships that moved without engines, voices that didn't speak but touched his thoughts, and always the same symbol, the spiral, glowing at the center of everything. One morning, he woke up with a jolt. His hands were shaking, not from fear, but from something else. Power. It wasn't just a feeling anymore, it was real. He stood in front of the mirror and stared at himself. "Who are you?" he whispered. There was no answer except for the quiet hum in his bones. At work, things started to change. Jordan was fixing an old truck when something caught his eye. A small part, broken and useless. But as he held it, he felt it, like it was talking to him. Without thinking, he reached into his toolbox and pulled out a screwdriver. He adjusted a tiny bolt, twisted a wire, and suddenly the part worked again. He blinked. What the? His boss, Carl, noticed. You fixed that thing? That part's been junked for months. Jordan shrugged. Guess I got lucky. But it kept happening. Wires reconnected themselves under his fingers. Broken circuits sparked back to life. Machines responded to him like they knew him, and it wasn't just machines. He started understanding things he never learned. How engines worked deep inside, how sound traveled through walls, how to read people's faces like open books. He wasn't just learning, he was remembering. Then came the voices. They weren't loud, not at first, just whispers in the back of his mind, thoughts that weren't quite his own. At night he sat alone in his room, staring at the seed on his desk. It glowed faintly now, pulsing like a heartbeat. What are you doing to me? He asked it. No reply. Just silence. Then one night the voice came clearly. Pattern recognized. Identity confirmed. Activation complete. Jordan gasped. It wasn't spoken aloud. It was inside him. He fell back onto his bed, heart pounding, and then the memories came. Not his own. Images flashed through his mind, a time before Earth was named, before humans walked upright. A sky filled with ships that didn't belong to any nation. Beings of light and thought watching, waiting. And a message. We are the ancients. We seeded life across the stars. And you are our echo. Jordan screamed and fell off the bed. He hit the floor hard, panting, eyes wide. He wasn't dreaming. He was waking up. The next day, Jordan tried to act normal. Carl gave him odd looks. You okay, kid? You look like you've seen a ghost? I think I did, Jordan muttered. He went home early. That night, he opened his laptop and searched for anything about ancient civilizations, lost tech, alien myths. He found strange stories, symbols matching the spiral, legends of humans who could talk to machines, of forgotten knowledge buried in DNA. He wasn't crazy. He was built for something big. Then came the knock on the door. It was late. Rain tapped softly on the windows. Jordan opened the door carefully. Standing outside was a man he didn't know, tall, wearing a black coat, eyes sharp and cold. Jordan Cole? The man asked. Depends who's asking, Jordan replied. The man smiled slightly. You're not safe anymore. Jordan frowned. What? There are others looking for you, the man said. Others who don't want you to wake up. Jordan took a step back. Who are you? The man reached into his coat, slowly, and pulled out a small device. It looked like the seed, only this one was red. I'm here to help, the man said, if you're ready to fight. Jordan looked at the red seed, then at the man. He didn't know what was coming, but whatever it was, it had already begun. The man with the red seed didn't wait for Jordan to invite him in. He stepped inside like he already knew what would happen next. Jordan backed away, heart pounding. Who are you? My name is Cale, the man said. His voice was calm, but his eyes were sharp. I'm not from here. Jordan blinked. You're alien? Cale gave a small smile. Not exactly. I'm something else now. He held up the red seed again. It pulsed once like it recognized Jordan. This thing, Kyle said, is a counter seal. It's meant to stop yours. Jordan frowned. Why? Because some fear what you're becoming, Kyle said, and they want to stop it. Before Jordan could ask more, a strange sound filled the air, low, humming like wind through metal. Outside, the rain slowed. Then everything went still. Cale turned toward the window. They're here. Who? Jordan asked. Cale looked at him. The purifiers. Outside, the sky darkened even though it was night. A shadow passed over the house, huge, silent, and fast. From the trees beyond the yard, something landed. It wasn't human. The figure rose on 4 limbs, sleek and black like oil. Its body shimmered under the porch light. It had no face, just a smooth mask and glowing eyes that scanned the surroundings. Another one dropped down beside it, then another. They moved like hunters, silent, precise. Jordan's breath caught. "What the hell are those?" "Scifi enforcers," Kale said. "Modified, programmed, loyal only to the purification wing." "They're after me?" Jordan whispered. Kale nodded. "You woke up. That makes you dangerous to them." Jordan swallowed hard. "So what do we do?" Kale smiled slightly. "We fight." Inside the house, Kale moved fast. He pulled wires from the walls, grabbed old car parts from Jordan's garage, and started building something. "What is that?" Jordan asked. "A disruptor," Kale said. "Basic tech, but effective against their shielding." Jordan watched in awe as Kale worked. "How do you know how to do all this?" Kale glanced at him. "Same way you do. We remember." Jordan didn't have time to ask more. One of the enforcers outside smashed through the front window. Glass flew everywhere. Kale grabbed Jordan's arm. "Move!" They ran into the back of the house, just as the enforcer landed inside with a thud. More followed. The machine scanned the room, searching. Their heads rotated slowly, glowing eyes sweeping the space. Then they split up. Some went left. One came straight for the back. Jordan and Kyle crouched behind the kitchen counter. Kyle handed Jordan a small device. "This will overload their systems. If you hit the right spot, right between the shoulder joints." Jordan stared at it. "You expect me to fight one of those things?" Kyle looked at him. "You're not just a human, Jordan. You never were." Jordan swallowed. Then he nodded. Outside, the enforcer got closer. It moved like smoke, quiet and deadly. Its claws clicked softly on the floor. Jordan gripped the device tightly. As the enforcer rounded the corner, he acted. He jumped out and threw the disruptor. It hit the machine square between the shoulders. The effect was instant. The enforcer convulsed. Sparks flew from its joints. It let out a high-pitched shriek and collapsed, twitching on the floor. Jordan stood frozen. "I did it." Kyle stepped forward. "Good, now let's take the rest." In minutes, they set traps throughout the house. Jordan used what he knew: where power lines ran, how the lights worked, which walls were weak. He built an EMP trap, using an old microwave, a battery, and a car alternator. When one enforcer stepped too close, the pulse fried its circuits. Another one tried to climb through the attic. Jordan triggered a motion sensor connected to a speaker system. The loud blast confused the machine long enough for Kale to disable it. One by one, they took them down. And then, silence. All that remained were broken bodies scattered across the floor. Jordan looked around, panting. "That actually worked." Kale studied him carefully. "You didn't just survive. You adapted, fought back, outsmarted them." Jordan wiped sweat from his forehead. "I don't even know how I knew what to do." Kyle smiled. "Because you remember." He reached into his coat and pulled out a small data chip. "This," he said, "will tell you more about who you are, about what's coming." Jordan took it carefully. "And what happens next?" Kale looked out the broken window. "Now, the real war begins." Above Earth, warships from the Scifi Purification Wing hovered like dark clouds, their weapons aimed at the surface. They had come not to negotiate, but to erase. To them, humanity was a mistake. A species that should never have remembered its past. A power that should never have awakened. And at the center of it all stood Jordan Cole. He wasn't alone. Beside him stood Kale, the rebel traveler who had helped him awaken. Above, hidden in orbit, were Vela and her small fleet of Scifi rebels, those who believed humanity had a right to exist. Below, across the world, others like Jordan were beginning to wake, not soldiers, not warriors, just humans. But something deep inside them stirred. Something ancient. Jordan stepped forward, the seed glowing brightly in his chest. It wasn't just part of him now. It was him, a piece of the ancients, guiding him home. The ground beneath them trembled. From the lake behind him, stone rose from the water, not rock, not metal, something older, a structure, tall and silent, covered in spirals and symbols that pulsed with energy, the beacon. It had been buried for thousands of years, hidden beneath layers of time and forgetting. But now, it responded to Jordan, to his presence, to his voice. "We are the echo of the ancients," he whispered. Cale placed a hand on his shoulder. "Say it louder." Jordan closed his eyes, and then he spoke, not with words, with thought, with memory, with power. "Humanity remembers." The beacon answered. Light shot into the sky like a pillar of fire. It reached beyond clouds, beyond satellites, beyond the watching ships. It sent a signal across the stars, not a weapon, not a warning, a reminder. Above, the Purifier fleet reacted instantly. Signal detected. One commander shouted, "Unknown origin." "It's spreading," another cried. "Across the planet, across the system." One ship tried to destroy the beacon, firing a massive plasma beam down toward the lake. But before it could strike, the sky lit up. Dozens, hundreds of new signals appeared, all over Earth, in cities, in forests, in deserts, in oceans. Human minds, waking up, each carrying a seed, each remembering. Jordan looked up as beams of light rose from every corner of the globe, not just from him, but from millions. The truth was undeniable. Humans weren't just evolving, they were awakening, and they had never truly been asleep. They had only been waiting. Vela's voice came through Cale's communicator. "Jordan, what did you do?" "I didn't do anything," he said softly. "I just reminded them." On the battlefield above, the tide turned. The Purifiers had expected one anomaly. They hadn't expected an entire species to rise together. The seeds responded to their carriers, humans who had no training, no weapons, yet suddenly understood machines, built defenses, raised shields, and even called ships from the sky. Cities glowed with ancient energy. Oceans hummed with forgotten power. Mountains shifted to reveal long-lost gates. Earth itself seemed to breathe again. Back at the lake, Jordan stood tall as the last Purifier ship tried to escape. Kyle looked up. "Should we stop them?" Jordan shook his head. "Let them go." "They'll return," Cale warned. "Maybe," Jordan said. "But next time they won't see a primitive species." He looked out across the glowing horizon. "Next time they'll see us." Days passed. The world changed. Not overnight, but steadily. People began to speak differently, to understand more, to build better. Governments couldn't hide what had happened. The skies were full of proof, of light, of knowledge returning. Vela returned with her people, not as enemies but as students. She found Jordan standing by the lake once more. "You did it," she said. Jordan smiled. "We did." She studied him. "What happens now?" He looked at the sky where stars shimmered like eyes watching from far away. "We go back," he said. "Back where?" "To where it all began." Vela nodded slowly. "You're ready." Jordan turned to her. "Are you coming with me?" She smiled. "Of course. You're not going alone this time." As they walked away, the lake behind them remained calm, but beneath its surface the beacon still pulsed, still watching, still waiting for the next chapter in humanity's story. And somewhere, deep in space, ancient eyes opened. The echo has returned. Humanity stands tall. The storm had passed, but something heavier was coming. Jordan sat on the floor of his broken kitchen, the data chip resting in his palm like a secret he wasn't ready to open. Outside, rain tapped gently against the windows. Inside, silence filled the space where machines had once hunted him. Kyle stood nearby, watching. "You should read it," he said. Jordan looked up. What's on it? Everything they tried to erase. Jordan stared at the small chip again. He didn't know what scared him more, the truth or not knowing. He reached for his laptop, plugged in the chip, and clicked the only file it contained. The screen flickered. Then came a voice, calm, ancient, and full of sorrow. If you are hearing this, then the silence has ended. Images followed, not just pictures but memories, not his own yet somehow familiar. He saw stars being born, planets shaped by unseen hands, beings made of light and thought walking across Earth before humans even existed. And then, the message. We were the ancients. We seeded life across the stars, and among all our creations, one rose beyond the rest, humanity. Jordan's breath caught. The video continued. You were never meant to be forgotten, but the others feared you. They buried your past, wiped your memory, left you to grow in darkness, hoping you would never remember who you truly are. Jordan blinked. His mind spun with questions. Kyle stepped closer. Now you understand. Jordan looked at him. So, we're not just some random species? No, Kyle said. You were the first, the blueprint, the key to everything. Jordan shook his head. That doesn't make sense. We're just people. Kyle smiled faintly. No, you were built to evolve, to adapt, to rise. Jordan leaned back. But why me? Why now? Kyle's smile faded. Because you woke up, and when one human remembers, others will follow. Outside, thunder rolled again. Kyle moved to the window. They'll come again. Jordan stood slowly. Who? The purifiers, Kyle said. They won't stop until you're silenced. Jordan frowned. Why? If we're supposed to remember. Kyle turned to face him. Because power without control is dangerous, and they fear what they cannot control. Jordan clenched his fists. So that's it? We either hide forever or fight? Kyle nodded. Yes. Jordan looked around his ruined home, the broken walls, the fallen machines. His life had changed, forever, and now so had the world. Later that night, Jordan asked the question burning inside him. What happened to Vela? Kale hesitated. Then he pulled out a small communicator and pressed a button. A soft voice answered. This is Vela, reporting from the edge of Sector 7. Jordan's heart leapt. Kale handed him the device. Jordan took it, voice shaky. Vela. There was a pause. Then her voice came through, softer now. Jordan? I'm here, he said. Another pause. Then, I knew you'd remember. Jordan smiled despite himself. I have a lot of questions. Then come find me, she said. We're not alone in this anymore. Jordan looked at Kale. Where is she? Kale studied him. Far. Dangerous. Jordan straightened. I don't care. Kale gave a slow nod. Then it's time you learned how to fly. The next morning, Kale showed Jordan how to use the seed. It wasn't just a gift. It was a key, a map, a weapon. It connected to something deep inside him, unlocking knowledge he never knew he had. He learned how to move faster than before, how to see things hidden to normal eyes, how to speak in thoughts, not just words, and most importantly, how to build. With old parts, scrap metal, and the seed's guidance, Jordan helped Kale construct something amazing. A ship. Not big, not flashy, but fast. Hidden. Ready. Jordan ran, his hand along its smooth surface. This is real, he whispered. Kyle nodded. You're not running. You're going to war. Jordan looked up at the sky. Clouds drifted above, hiding stars he could now almost feel. He thought of Vela, of the ancients, of what he was becoming. And he knew one thing for sure. Humanity wasn't weak. It had just been sleeping. And now, it was waking up.